I think it does come about by this process of this reflective process. So undertaking projects, learning skills of how to reflect on what you've done, how to take what you've done and consider it within broader communities of practice. So, this is my proposal. I've proposed it with these things in mind. I understand that these other designers, architects, thinkers, poets, painters, writers, whoever, have had a similar ambition, and I can see some alignment between what I've done here and what they've achieved there. So learning to see your work in a slightly broader context than sort of your own headspace is really important, and a really important first step in becoming critical, in the sense that you're now seeing your own work against a wider ground. But that of course can become almost an entirely academic pursuit with none of that, what was your term, it was a very good one, the hairs on the back of your neck test. How does this thing actually feel? And that's a really difficult one, because of course in architecture schools we're never dealing with the space. We're only ever dealing with representations of the space, or some way of alluding to what the quality of the thing might be at the end of the day. So I think the only way that you can teach that is to continually work between representations of a thing and real experience of space. So when you're continually inviting students to support their claims with evidence of real spaces, so to be able to talk from their own personal spatial experience rather than some sort of academic analysis of the drawings of Adolf Loos or something. So if we go back to an earlier conversation, I would much rather a student talk out their experience of Pleshnik's Bull Stare than to show me a series of drawings of them and then try and say that the spatial experience that they've captured in their work is the same because of some kind of dimensional correctness or something. I think it has to be, in the end, experientially based.
And I suppose the intriguing thing then is that then when we raise this notion of reflective practice, that then strikes one of the real innovations about RMIT and the manner in which it's actually, inviting practitioners back in to sit down and think about what they've been doing and how they can do what they do every day better. I think the reflective practice process is invaluable for any architectural practice, and arguably those who have passed through the RMIT process in the past are now sort of making beyond significant contribution in the urban fabric of Melbourne. Do you think that the invitational process will continue, or how do you see that evolution into the city?
I hope it continues. I think it has enormous potential, and I think we've really only at this point revealed the potential. I don't think we've gone anywhere yet in terms of realising. It has been realised in a couple of very significant practices, but I think that process can be extended so that we now have the 5 levels of PhD that we're talking about. 4 levels of PhD. One where recent graduates might be trying to understand what direction their career is going to head in, and they might use that reflective practice project-based approach to discover what that might be. So having learnt the basics in their master's program, they can then project out to what kind of architecture they might make in the future in a far more precise way than was ever possible with a standard undergraduate or master's program. The second level is the practitioner who has been out for 10 years, whose work has been peer recognised and so on, that we invite back in, and this is the invitational person. And we allow them the opportunity to discover or to more articulately describe the qualities that have been found in their work to date, and then to project how that work might proceed in the future. The third type is people who have works that have been peer reviewed internationally, and who will undertake something like a PhD by publication where they reflect on the qualities of those particular works and then project forward what that might mean in terms of future work. And the final one is people who are at a career high, if you like, where they've produced a substantial body of work that has substantial international and national peer review, where they will use the PhD as a way of capturing what that practice was in order that that knowledge might be passed on to others. So that's a sort of four. So what started as a single sort of invitational stream that Leon began has now evolved out into, I think, a model for practice-based research at a number of different number of different levels.
And I suppose would the ambition be that perhaps a reflective practice model may not be necessary in the future because we'd be producing graduates who would be suitably reflective?
I think there will always be a place for that high degree study. I mean, my ambition would be that we continually produce graduates who are capable of reflective practice. That what our postgraduate programs will enable is people to take that to an even higher level and to provide a international framework within which they might reflect on their work.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Cheers, mate.